I want their leader brought here. I want him brought to me. I want the revolution crushed.
Hey, welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for a special episode this weekend. We have a very exciting episode. But before we get started, help us out on patreon.com, the Mad Mamluks. On Patreon, our links are in the description below. And you can also support us through PayPal by going to our website, themadmamluks.com. We have a very special guest, the former NYU professor and author of 14 books, former leftist who has increasingly become involved in more libertarian style discussions and associated with those style of politics, and now founder of the Anti-Zionist Super PAC, or not Super PAC, but PAC. AZAPAC is how you pronounce it, correct?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Welcome to the show, Dr. Michael. How are you?
I'm good. Good to be here.
Well, how does this thing get started? Because you're an accomplished author, a professor, and you're doing the rounds on shows all over about this new AZAPAC that you've started. And, traditionally, that's not the safe route for someone who is someone as accomplished as you. Why are you trying to make enemies, man?
I'm not trying to make enemies. I'm trying to restore our national sovereignty.
Yeah.
And save the United States from its rather pernicious relationship with Israel and Zionism.
Yeah, and that's an issue where there's a lot of, fear because everyone's scared of being labeled as anti-Semitic. And I know people from our Muslim community, we're primarily a Muslim podcast with our leaders, listenership being of that demographic. No one wants that kind of label around them when they're trying to do any kind of advocacy or any kind of information, because I understand, because you're seeing some of the consequences some of the people are experiencing. You're seeing people like the Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL going on TV telling them that we're going to get the FBI on you, and trying to literally scare people into submission. And and then we have a lot of courageous individuals such as yourself who have said, hey, enough's enough. Where we can't allow our country to be subverted this way. Right. And it seems like this is like a campaign that's been going on for over the course of a number of decades. And I'm wondering if you've thought about like when this actually started, like this hold over Congress and major institutions of the country.
I would say it goes back at least as far as the 60s and the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And the eventualities that followed from that, including Johnson being put in office and his Zionist abdication to Israel. For example, the USS Liberty was attacked by Israel in the late 60s. I think it was 1968. And Johnson refused to allow the ship to respond. Secondly, he refused to allow the shipmates to report on what happened, and he said, frankly, I don't care about a few sailors. We can't embarrass Israel. And after John F. Kennedy was assassinated, Dimona reactor, the nuclear reactor that Israel is working on, became operational, and they started getting nuclear weapons. They got the nuclear materials from the United States through the NUMEC affair, where they stole fissile material. Then they stole triggers. And then they began super lobbying around the 70s. This is when the major lobbies started taking hold on the United States. And so they have added one after another organization, lobbying organizations that are set up as tax-exempt organizations. There's over 500 of them. They pretend to be charitable organizations, but their money is used to funnel funds into propaganda and also the West Bank settlements and other Israeli interests. So, that they got away with being tax exempt and not having to register as a foreign agent in the case of AIPAC and many other organizations. AIPAC is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Dr. Michael, I had another really important curiosity about yourself. For starters, usually people, when they figure out that there's a stronghold by way of AIPAC and other organizations like you mentioned on the government, they would probably make a blog post, probably make some videos on YouTube or Rumble, whatever the case may be, other platforms. I want to know how the idea came to you of starting AZAPAC and being very blatant, calling it, anti-Zionist in the title itself. I mean, it takes obviously some courage and some guts, and you're going to make a lot of enemies, and definitely be labeled an anti-Semite, even though you're not. So, what was it? A jump? What was this process, and how did it become to what it is now?
Well, the first thing I thought about was we needed a third party to counter all this, and I thought about founding the Anti-Zionist American Party, AZAP. But then, with my knowledge of the third parties in the United States, and they can't get any foothold, they get nowhere, they get squashed because the Republicans and Democrats have control of the state for so long, they put up all these barriers to third parties. So I thought, how can we possibly affect the U.S. government to get it to cease backing and supporting and basically being the greatest enabler of Israel's depredations and its genocidal intents and actions. And I thought we need to remove from office all these Zionists. They have to be removed. They have to be replaced. And so I thought one way to go about it was look at the other side. The Israeli lobby is extremely extensive. They have vast organizations. They have coordination between these organizations. I'm thinking, why isn't there an organization to counter this? Why is there no anti-Zionist PAC? And I decided to go for it. Call me crazy, call me a God's fool, but that's what it is.
And when you were registering the name, this is another curiosity of mine. When you were registering the name, what looks did you get when you were doing your paperwork and meeting clerks and letting them know that the name of my PAC is called Anti-Zionist PAC?
Well, when we went to the bank, it was interesting. They wanted to know what our name was, and were we legitimate, and did we have an EIN number with the IRS and all that. And they looked at the title, and they just effectively ignored it and treated it like another business, a PAC, but another PAC. And the same with the FEC. So far, we haven't had any pushback or attempts to crush us or dissolve us or make us illegal, which is possible because of the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, which is really only applied to students in universities right now, but they could extend it to apply to anybody. And so so far we have not gotten federal pushback or any kind of censorship or attempts to squelch us or squash us. We've been operating legitimately as an American PAC, filed with the FEC and the IRS and everything.
Any shadow banning, anything, threats? I hate to sound
Shadow
extreme,
banning. The day after I announced the PAC's existence on X, my impressions went from 1.5 million a day to roughly 60,000 a day. So it's been I've been majorly squelched on X as a result. But our AZAPAC account has not yet been squelched, as far as we can tell. It's Anti-Zionist American PAC is our AZAPAC's X handle, and it's been growing by leaps and bounds. And we released a video in November. It went viral, like very viral, and the donations have been pouring in since. I mean, it's incredible.
And yeah, and I know that shift happened, and and you can just move on with this, but that shift occurred, I think, when it was, I think, Tucker Carlson and Miss Rachel, they made it to the top 5 list of, the anti-Semites of the year, and we saw that people were celebrating them, and that's how we knew that the tide has turned now, that being an anti-Semite was once nobody would ever dare want to be associated with that, but now it's like a badge of honor in many circles. So I think you guys capitalized at the right time. I think August of 2025 was your basically the start of all this. So you're still very young. You guys haven't even hit 1 year yet. Right?
Very young, growing and going through growing pains. Like, we got hundreds and hundreds of people wanting to volunteer. And the hardest thing in an organization, as a young organization, is organizing the volunteers. What do we, how do we deal with them? What do we do? Where do we put them all? How do we make them effective? Stuff like that. Let me just say something about the anti-Semitism canard, if I can.
Please.
Nobody benefits more from conflating anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism than the state of Israel. That's what they do on purpose. They call their state the Jewish state, and they make any criticisms of Israel equated with anti-Semitism. But there are plenty of people, including many Jews, who push back against this. We have the Torah Jews and the Jewish rabbis of various Orthodox sects who have pushed back against this and have wanted nothing to do with the state of Israel. And also, we've gotten many donations from Jewish people, plenty of donations, and thank yous from these people.
Yeah, it's wild, and it's so funny because any other ethnic group or racial group, anyone ever expressing the level of loyalty that to a foreign entity. My parents are from India and Saudi Arabia. If I had said anything remotely like that, running for Congress, it would just be automatically disqualified. Like, you're not even up for consideration. You've essentially committed political suicide, and you just don't know how to navigate the political landscape. But with this country, Israel, you're held to a different standard. It's almost like a shortcut to power.
Yeah.
Like, the more easier or the more willing you are to work with them, the more they will help you climb the ladder.
Yeah.
And it seems as though that whenever there's any kind of political issue that's happening, any hot button topic that's happening, for example, Iran or what have you, they almost like a button, they just activate these bots that they've helped into power. They said, hey, we assisted you now. This is your time to act. And you'll see on cue, all their messaging is very much similar. They're all saying the same message. They want a certain narrative established. And all of a sudden, it's almost as if like a text message goes out to everyone. Like, these are our talking points.
Oh, they have definite talking points they circulate. There's no question about it. They've trained these people actually to execute their Hasbara. I mean, I just was recently in a debate with this guy Shabbos Kessenbaum and learned that he was trained in Hasbara in Israel. They actually take you over there and they train you in how to respond to all criticisms of Israel, all the deflections, the kind of rationalizations, the gaslighting, the double speak, all the sophistry that you can engage in, everything that's necessary to fight off anti-Zionist adversaries. They train them in all this. And they have similar training going on, I think, with other non-Jewish influencers who they are paying $7,000 per post in many cases, and not declared as agents, foreign agents, for example. They ought to be all declared as foreign agents because they're actually working for a foreign state. And that goes for AIPAC, of course, and all these other so-called charitable organizations that are funding the propaganda and the West Bank settlements and other Israeli projects.
Yeah, and that's just the political side of things, and then you have major media institutions like Paramount, CBS, right, TikTok, all being controlled by a very prominent Zionist family, the Ellison and Larry and his son. Right. Then they started taking over these institutions and started banning accounts all across TikTok, and also even I read a report. I'm not sure the authenticity of it, but because Javier Bardem is very pro-Palestine, they said that his content is no longer welcome on Paramount.
Wow.
And so they're using, or at least using their financial muscle to buy up major institutions, media institutions, in order to suppress any kind of dissent.
Yeah, I mean,
including CBS News, and where they installed Barry Weiss as the head of CBS News, which has no qualifications
at all.
For.
Yep.
Yeah, and they bought her free press, which was anything but free. What a misnomer that was. And they gave her, I think, $250 million for it, which is just ridiculous. It had no reach to justify those numbers. So they're just paying people to do the work, overpaying them in many cases, I think. And so, yeah, they're trying to buy the whole media sphere, including social media, and to control it. You know, you saw Jonathan Greenblatt recently, as you mentioned before, talking about putting the FBI on people, but they're also trying to rig the algorithms on social media all over the place. You saw this person from Meta who's in charge of like Jewish diaspora something, and she's bragging about how they get rid of all anti-Zionist content, and they equate that with anti-Semitism, of course.
Dude, being an author yourself, like, you must see like these two huge narratives that are happening, kind of like on a very grand scale or on a macro scale, where these people with unlimited resources, pretty much it seems like unlimited wealth, are pushing this illusion, this lie to the world, and then there's on the other side people who have truth and are trying to explain to people like, hey, this is what's happening, and you're handcuffed, and you only have the truth on your side, and you're trying to tell people like, hey, this is what's going on, and against all odds you have to succeed. It's kind of like, you know, I don't know if you've written about this in the past, but can you talk about that?
Google Archipelago, and that's all about the digital gulag and the total control and surveillance system that it represents, and censorship regime. So yeah, I know I've written about this.
Yeah, it just seems like, you know, any kind of media or these books where what was that one with the bird? Not Hunger Games. And you see all these like different things that we've all like learned about through, you know, different types of oppression, how like power kind of leverages and manifests itself through society, and they become bestsellers, and these you know, stories become so popular, and you're like, I need you to just use what you learned through those movies. Don't read my book. Forget about reading my book. That's too much effort. I get it. Just apply some of the same principles, that same sense of humanity and justice and compassion and wanting to see like, hey, this is what's happening to our world right now. Wake up. And
yeah, I mean, people watch the Hunger Games, champion the subjected, the oppressed, and the way that the elite plays their power around, and then they witness it in real life. In the case of Gaza, where the real Hunger Games are actually taking place, and they don't see the connections beyond belief.
But I think that Sim, you mentioned something that's really, really important as far as throwing unlimited amount of, it almost seems like infinite amount of resources, and there's still more to give. And the only power they have left now is that wealth that they possess. But the truthers, the people who are just willing to speak the truth, don't have nearly as much, financial backing. But look what happened now, and people are seeing this, and this is why the truth is so important. Donald Trump, and I know you spoke about this too, Dr. Michael, like Donald Trump, his reputation was to be, this one rogue politician that's going to change the world, and nobody's on his side, and he's carving his own path. I'm looking for a word, I can't remember, but that reputation of like this aggressive individual that is
anti-establishment.
Yeah,
thank you, the establishment. And he's going to succumb to nobody. And then people start seeing that, oh, he's getting this money, like the Miriam Edelson type money and millions of dollars. And, oh, okay, now he's bending the knee too. Wait, I voted for the dude who's the establishment. But why is the only entity that can buy him out, and he's standing in full submission to this entity? Like, what is this? And I think that's the truth. When that type of stuff gets discovered now on a daily basis, because of the access we have to information, now the people of truth, their wealth is much more substantial than the people who have unlimited amount of economic resources now, right? Which is why, like you're mentioning, like you said that you have all these people that are willing to volunteer. You can't even keep track. It hasn't even been a year yet, right? It hasn't even been a year yet.
We're deluged by this, and it's almost we're just trying to figure out what to do with all these people, and we're amazed by all the support. It's been incredible.
No, that's a great problem to have, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that you thought of that. Like you're spearheading this. I'm pretty sure. And what am I going to do? They're just going to throw money at just responding to anything that I put out there. But we're starting to see now that truth is the most powerful weapon, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the most powerful weapon. We can undo their lies, and we can uncover the facts, and we can expose them. But I mentioned this debate I had, and no matter how many facts I threw at this guy, he didn't acknowledge them, or he ignored them and pretended I hadn't said them. And then went on to other like trivial type things to try to trip me up, and make it look like I didn't know what I was talking about because I couldn't pronounce Amalek or Amalek or whatever the hell it is. But the point about that was that Netanyahu himself invoked the biblical Amalek or Amalek, whatever you want, or omelet. I don't care.
Spinach
omelet. They wanted to, he said we got to treat the Palestinians like Amalek.
Yeah. And
that means wipe them out. Man, woman, child, beast of burden, plants, everything, destroy it. And that's the imagery, and that's the religio-political ideology that they're wielding. And you point this out, and they just say, "Oh, you didn't pronounce Amalek right." That was his basic response.
Just distraction. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And we were just listening to one of these. I think it was Michael Knowles, and the face that they're able to.
Michael Knowles and Kyle Klinsky.
The face and the tone that they're able to use in complete confidence, even though the world knows that they're lying. Everybody watching it knows that they're lying, but there's no hitch. I was telling this to Sim. I was like, there's no hitch in his step. There's no stutter. There's no sign of any discomfort of, okay, I'm lying and no one's going to believe me. And they're all trained to say this with full confidence. Like this level of submission, I've never seen this before.
It's wild because you know Michael Knowles is smart. He's
smart
that he's at least intellectually he has the ability to understand, like when confronted with facts and reason,
Yeah.
that he should be able to understand, right? And the idea that it just goes right over his head, and that he has to stick to a certain set of narrative or a certain message, just wild.
And not showing any
They give him a
discomfort, being
script.
fully confident. Yeah, go ahead.
They
Sorry.
give them a script, and they give them the response to just about every imaginable criticism and point of fact. You know, for example, I was talking about October 7th during this debate, and I pointed out that there was a Knesset soldier, an IDF soldier, that testified before the Knesset under oath that his battalion, the Golani battalion, was told to stand down an hour before the border wall was breached. And they were told to stand down until 9 a.m. and not to go to the border wall until 9 a.m.
Wow.
And the breach happened at 6:30. So an hour before the breach, they were told this. And then, of course, they used the Hannibal Directive to kill a lot of their own people. You point this out, no comment, no response. They just skip it and go to something else and pretend like it didn't happen.
Conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the other thing.
Yep.
Now,
They try to use that phrase, which has always been invented to, first of all, it was the CIA that floated that particular phraseology in order to discredit all the investigations and inquiries into John F. Kennedy's assassination.
The connection. There you go.
being a founder of AZAPAC, do you think like the role of this type of organization would change, in at least as we kind of shift forward, where we talked about how like all these candidates come in with a message, right? They know how to do we have to train these candidates that we're supporting through organizations such as AZAPAC, that hey, these are the talking points you're going to face. They're going to tell you, they're going to call you anti-Semitic, and they're going to say X, Y, and Z to you, and you have to be prepared to field these questions and so on. Like, do you think the nature of AZAPAC will likely have to evolve into figuring out how to respond to some of these accusations and stuff?
I think we need a think tank, and on top of the PAC, we need to develop a think tank that studies Zionism, its history, its development, its actions, its rhetoric, every aspect, its funding, the whole 9 yards. There needs to be like a think tank that's devoted to this, because this is a very serious issue. We're talking about complete, what I would call, subversion and utter occupation of the United States government by this contingent. So it's going to take a lot to overthrow it.
And do you have somebody in the works? Have you already discussed with somebody regarding a think tank? And is that something you just...
I have thought about it. I've basically posited the idea. It's something that's definitely going to happen. It's just right now it's not the right time. We're just not ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
We got the midterms coming up. We got to deal with the FEC and all this filing that they require. So they make it difficult, and we know that we have to be perfect, because they're going to look for anything to try to shut us down.
That's true.
Dr. Michael, something I've noticed with the prominent Zionist voices across the political spectrum is, regardless of whether you're left, right, libertarian, whatever form of Zionist you are, they're never at each other's throats in public.
Right.
Did you notice that? Like, they're like on, and maybe this is a testament to the truth. Maybe on the other side, you see like prominent voices like Candace Owens and what have you, Nick Fuentes and them. They're all like it's like a big cartoon of people, everyone just fighting, right? And there needs to be a bit more maturity in that movement, where you have to realize like, hey, there's some bigger fish to fry here. There's a huge problem that likely is a bigger problem than any problem that the United States is facing at the moment. I really believe when your government is no longer working for you, that is the biggest problem that you can possibly imagine. That is, it's working in the interest of a foreign actor, that it's likely compromised, and that in itself is like a 911 issue. I think all these other side issues, things, I'm sure there's things with Epstein and stuff that are horrible and tragic and stuff, but like you can't be at each other's throats and breaking relationships and stuff like that over what, like this.
Yes,
this is I don't get it.
Very little confidence in these so-called influencers to do much.
Yeah.
I think that they're largely involved in their own agendas and their own fame and fortune and stuff like that. We have gotten very little. We've gotten some. There have been several big players that have gotten behind us, but for the most part, they ignore it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're actually trying to do something about what they've been complaining about for years, and they don't come around to do anything. So I have very little faith in the influencer sphere. Nick Fuentes, maybe more so. I'd have more faith in Candace Owens than I would Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
I don't trust him at all. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't either. I just feel like there's if you have studied this at the level you claim to have, and you sound very intelligent, smart about it, and you can be very entertaining and funny too at times, but you're making it about you now, like getting upset about like, oh, people getting popular before you, like, yeah, we get it. You said it way before other people. You got that street cred, but to harp on it the way that he does, it's just like, okay, you're either really immature or you're just in it for publicity and trying to make a name for yourself. And so I'm trying to get listeners to be more concerned about people who are working and trying to make change, such as yourself. We've had other candidates such as Aaron Baker on our show as well in the past, and we're trying to push some of these candidates who are on the ground, who are actually dealing with real consequences and real issues and real struggle. Like, they need to get these campaigns funded and stuff, and that's where the work is. And I really want to applaud you and thank you for doing the effort that you are, Dr. Michael, because I know someone as accomplished as you are, you can just show your resume and kind of have a cakewalk through life and just get hired on at a prominent university, and you can become like a Jordan Peterson type, oh, I'm anti-woke and this is it, and clean up your room and you'll be okay, and you'll be doing tours. No, I mean,
I like that one.
I mean, I don't mean to knock on him too much, because he's he presented himself in a completely different way. Yeah, I supported him initially too, and it was just like so sad to see.
Yeah, we're friends. I was a friend with him.
Oh, really?
Until I came. Oh, yeah. Then he followed me on Twitter. We had email conversations, but after I came out against what Israel was doing in Gaza, he unfriended me he unfollowed me, he blocked me.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it goes pretty deep when you get into the real stuff.
That's wild.
And they probably accuse you of, being on another team.
Woke right.
No, but not only that. I mean, if you have a name like Anti-Zionist PAC, not only are they going to refer to you as anti-Semite, they probably associate you with many other groups that make you look really, really bad. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They probably gave you those labels.
Associate us with Hamas or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah. And
I said that was another point I brought up in the debate. That basically, I said, I know you're going to ask me if I support Hamas, and I don't, but Netanyahu certainly did.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
He shepherded over $1.8 billion to Hamas. So, don't tell me about supporting Hamas.
Yeah, that question is so old because so much information is out there about how much he actually supported, and it doesn't make any sense anymore. And anybody who harps on that is just trying to and that's the thing about Zionists. That's what their Hasbara talking points are, just recycling it over. They don't care if people believe it or not. They just say it.
Exactly. And that's
Over
one
and
of the
over.
things. You just create enough confusion, just a little bit of confusion to say that this is a complicated issue.
Yeah.
And there's two sides to each story. I'm sure both sides have, and that's all they need to do.
Yeah.
And in that, for them, it's a victory.
And saying it with confidence.
Yeah.
When you say that with confidence, it's just enough confusion to make people like, You start doubting yourself, like, man, am I thinking about this wrong?
Yeah.
You know, like how are they saying with such confidence?
Exactly.
Yeah, but just a really interesting thing is you have, people lined up going head on against the Randy Fines, and can you speak a little bit about that of what you have?
Yeah. Which candidates are you guys looking at and supporting?
Well, we have a whole slate, and one of them is Aaron Baker. We are supporting him against Randy Fine. We have endorsed him. We have supported him financially, and we've run an ad. We got an ad that we made about Randy Fine that we're going to run in his district up down there. It's brutal. I can tell you right now, it's brutal. We're not accepting Randy Fine, and we're going to try to knock him out. The biggest impediment to national sovereignty, as we call him.
You had another candidate too. His name was something Brown. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name.
We have Mike Wilnow that's running against Daniel Webster in Florida. We have Jose Vega. I don't know if you know about him.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't had Jose on, you ought to have him on. He's an incredible powerhouse. He's running against Richie Torres in New York.
Oh,
That's
wow.
who it was,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
For the Bronx, he's a real. I mean, you should watch a video about him called "The Making of a Revolutionary," and he's not some Marxist. He's talking about taking on the state and state power, and Zionism in particular.
You said Jose Vega.
Vega, yeah.
All right. Maybe you could put in a word too for him
Oh
to.
yeah, I'll get you on. I'll get him to you, for sure.
What are your thoughts on this new name? I don't know if it's new, but James Fishback. He's been making the waves on Twitter and stuff.
Well, we reached out to him, and we've talked to him. I've talked to him on the phone personally, and we sent him our candidate questionnaire. We have a candidate questionnaire. You have to answer it, or we can't support you because it has questions. Will you send arms and aid to military aid to Israel?
Yeah.
Will you take AIPAC or any other Israeli lobby money?
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He didn't answer. So
Okay. So
I don't
we'll
know.
wait to. We'll hopefully get some people start asking him the right questions on Twitter and try to get him to answer these questions. And he's saying some of the right things. We'll see, though, right?
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
afraid. I heard from Aaron. In fact, Aaron told me that he's afraid to get our endorsement because there's so many Jewish people in Florida. There's 750,000 Jewish people in Florida. Well, he's not going to get their vote anyway. They've already,
He's already got. They're already voting for DeSantis.
they've already slandered him,
Yeah.
and they've already said that he's an anti-Semite and all this. So he has nothing to lose with our support and everything to gain.
Exactly. And these are some of the important conversations that need to take place, at least with candidates and their committees and that they set up to make, to create political strategy around. And they need to answer some of these things like, hey, how principled are we going to be related to this issue? Because you can stand to actually really benefit with the new wave of America First coming up, where it truly means like America First, not the way that Donald Trump said,
Yeah, that
I
was.
mean, Trump's America First is like Israel first, but then there's this other contingent, and Nick Fuentes is one of them, that they think America First means American world domination.
Yeah.
And that's certainly not what I take from it. This is about non-interventionism, taking care of your own citizens rather than funding wars for Israel and fighting in them, for that matter, in the case of Iraq and Libya and Syria and so forth. I mean, so we've been trying to make it clear that this is a principled stand. There's nothing anti-Semitic about it. It's about sovereignty. In fact, we define Zionism strictly as, from the American perspective, Zionism is the bribery and blackmail of our political class and the extortion of the U.S. taxpayer for Israel. That's all we say it is.
All right. You got anything?
Yeah, I just want to know. I mean, just like kind of almost simple question, but because it seems like such a daunting task. Again, I'm going to come back to this being called Anti-Zionist PAC. What would you say right now is just the biggest challenge that you have that is kind of just, I don't want to say giving you guys grief, but like, what is kind of your biggest challenge as of right now?
Well, there's a lot of them. I would say one of them is that we're trying to breach the so-called political divide, like to bring these contingents together, left and right, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, it doesn't matter. We're trying to bring a real big coalition together. And of course, there's always differences between these people. And we're trying to get people to focus on this one issue, this one impediment to our national sovereignty and our moral conscience as well. I mean, the fact of the matter that the United States has funded a genocide is just, it's unconscionable.
Absolutely. Dr. Michael, thank you so much for your time today. How do people get in touch with your organization, and how can they help you with their talents, if not their financial assistance? But how do they reach out to you guys?
So we have, go to the website AZAPAC, AZA-PAC.com. That's AZA-PAC.com. And you can volunteer, donate. But first of all, just get up to speed with the organization, look at our videos, look at our resources and so forth, and just get behind us financially. And if you can volunteer, we need, so to be big enough to fight APAC, we need about $250 million. So that's like $25 from 10 million Americans.
Wow. Wow. Well, it's going to be a mountain, but hopefully truth prevails, as we mentioned earlier. Thank you so much for your time, Doctor.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Dr. Michael, that was good.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
I want their leader brought here. I want him brought to me. I want the revolution crushed.